Many African Americans have never stood at the south rim of the Grand Canyon and asked themselves, how could such beauty come to be in this world? And all my problems, all my troubles are so minimized, mitigated, and diminished by the grandeur that is at our feet. Aren't we? I'm speechless, and I rarely am ever speechless. And so when I first encountered these places, and they, of course, encountered me, because you don't just work and live in a national park for very long before those places inhabit you. They live inside you. They transform the way that you see the world. And I'm an inner city kid. I'm from Detroit. And when I say I'm from Detroit, I mean literally I am from Detroit. And no one that I knew in my community ever talked about national parks. No one I knew at church ever spoke about national parks. No one in the classes that I attended in Detroit ever talked about my teachers. That is who I'm referring to. My teachers never spoke of the grandeur of our national parks. It was as if these were hidden worlds, hidden lands, not meant for me, not meant for people in my community. And I felt that way, but at the same time, I had this memory. And everyone here before me has a memory of being together with their family when they were young. My dad served in the Army. My dad served in Korea and Vietnam. And he was stationed at one time in Germany. And we lived in a little town called Contwig near the border with France. I went to kindergarten in Germany. Yes, I was born in Detroit in Henry Ford Hospital. But somehow I made my way to the Black Forest. And we were there. And I remember that my mom and dad took my brother and I to Berchtesgaden, to Eagle's Nest, and we were there in the Bavarian Alps. Let me say that more profoundly. We were there in the Bavarian Alps. And those of you who've experienced those mountains, or any mountain range, knows the exaltation of being in a place that brings you closer to the Creator, closer to creation itself. And I was just a little boy, and I was cold. And I was holding my mother's hand, and I was holding my father's hand. And that's the clearest memory I have of my mother and my father. As a child, holding their hands and looking out and seeing blue sky and gray clouds and feeling that coldness. And the only heat in this world was the heat of my mother's hand and my father's hand. And I'm thinking of that now because my dad has passed on. My dad is not here to say, good job, son. But I know that he's here with me because that which has happened in the past continues into the present, and it shapes who we are, how we see, how we feel, what we touch, and what touches us. And I never forgot that moment. And many of you have such a moment that you have never forgotten, and it has shaped the person that you have become. I am a park ranger because I went to kindergarten in Germany. Because I never forgot that moment. And it is a very surreal experience to find yourself in the public schools of Detroit, and yet, unlike your classmates, you can close your eyes and you can see the Alps and the coldness and the sky all around you. And that kept me safe and secure spiritually, if not physically. So when I finally encountered the national parks, I literally felt, as the Amy's beautiful film displayed, I literally felt that I was going home, that I had been there before. And every time I'm in any national park, it is a reminder of who I am, where I come from, and who my people are. And of course, in this instance, it's all of you. Everyone in this room is of my blood. Everyone in this room is of my ancestry, because everyone in this room is a human being. Everyone, no matter where you come from, no matter what place your parents hailed, all of us at one time were indigenous people. All of us came from people who were rooted to a particular place in the world. And that is the key, that is the solution to protecting and saving the earth, is remembering that blood familiarity with that earth and recognizing that any trip to any mountain, any trip to any desert, any trip to any plain, any forest, along the edge of any ocean or river or stream is always a return, an ancestral return to the place from which we all came. So when I, thank you, so when I got to Yosemite and I found that photograph of the 9th Cavalry, I was so excited. I started yelling and screaming internally because I was in the research library. There was a place for decorum. So internally, just like when I met Oprah, I was very calm. It was Oprah. I should have been doing headstands and handstands and yelling and shrieking, but that is unbecoming to a park ranger. And so I did not. But internally, I was so excited because when I looked into that photograph and I saw the faces of those men, I saw the face of my father. My father who came home from Vietnam, as did so many Vietnam veterans, who did not feel the country appreciated the work and the sacrifices that they made. And my father died still bitter about how he was treated growing up in South Carolina during the period of Jim Crow. That was my dad's life. I wish he was here, and I know he is here right now, and he knows that in my celebration of the Buffalo Soldiers, I am celebrating him and all his friends and all who served with them who were in the military, celebrating all of their lives. And that's what's most important, that the parks are celebratory of something so much bigger than the park. I think that park is not an adequate word to describe the Grand Canyon. I think it is faulty in an architectural sense to really get a sense of what Zion means or Yellowstone. I mean, park should be something sitting on a sofa being psychoanalyzed for inadequacy issues. And if I were president, and I'm not going to run, but if I were, I would make it, say there's a vehicle stop and you're driving, a policeman pulls you over, a policewoman pulls you over, they would check your license and say, well, this is fine, but ma'am, according to what I see here, you have not visited Acadia in over 3 years. This is really, really serious, all right? Right, it says here that you're in Chicago now, so okay, you have to visit Voyagers within the next week, otherwise you're going to be before a federal judge. I'm letting you off easy this time. But that's the way it is because, you know, national parks are democracy that you can walk into and breathe its air, and you need to have that connection because that is what it means to be an American. And I know you love being an American, so you need to show that and evince that, to make that clear to everyone by visiting your national park because they're your place, they're my place, they're our place. Have a great day. Here's my farewell.